Hello, this is Wenker Reviews, and today I'll be doing a video on Becky, about a little girl and her father who vacation in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. The little girl is dealing with issues after her mother's death from severe illness. Her dad suddenly announces he wants to get remarried, and the girl is deeply upset about it. That same day, they get a visit from unsavory characters who just escaped prison. I'll be honest, I really had no intentions of watching this, despite the fact that I do like Kevin James. The trailers just did not interest me, but I did see a double toasted review about it, and it did perk my ears up. They were comparing it to a violent R rated version of Home Alone. We're introduced to a girl who may or may not be getting bullied at school. Her mom died, and she's also dealing with anger issues because of that. She shoplifts. She's a complete rebel. I didn't really like the little girl's performance when we're first introduced to her. I thought she was trying too hard, and it seemed like she was just being very over the top when it came to being angsty and rebellious. It didn't seem authentic, and that may or may not have to do with the direction. I was hoping as the movie went along that I would eventually warm up to her, but that never really happened. Even though there were times where I did feel sorry for her because of what was happening, maybe if they chose a better actress or had a little boy instead, it would have worked out a lot better because this actress was just very hard to connect to. She's really not that great of an actress. As someone who's very familiar with acting, I can tell right away that she is very limited in what she can do, which is how most actors are. They can only do a certain amount of things while being convincing. And there's only maybe a select few of people who really know how to take it to a whole nother level and do so many versatile things, like Joaquin Phoenix. She's a decent actress when she's not trying too hard to be an evil badass. As for Kevin James, I was very surprised at how ruthless his character was, and he's actually one of the best things about this. He really does carry the movie, in my opinion. We usually see him in really funny roles, so it was nice to see him doing something different. He did such a great job at being evil. I actually did dislike him. I never once saw Doug Heffernan from King of Queens, so that was nice. Maybe this will open more doors for him. I also loved how gory it got. Some scenes with the gore had a little bit of black humor, but it didn't take away from the tension. In a way, it knew how to make fun of itself without going over the top and being goofy. Now, moving on to the woman that plays the soon to be stepmom of this girl, she was kind of a non factor. I kept forgetting her and her son were in the movie. She wasn't even given anything to do but sit on the couch the entire time. I was very surprised at how many times I kept forgetting she was in this movie when they would show her again. Her character was very unnecessary and just felt like a plot device for the little girl to be upset and leave the house, which led to her being the only one not being held hostage. And the little girl's actually upset at the stepmom because the little girl doesn't want her real mom to be replaced. So this whole plot device enabled her character to start getting her revenge on all the men that were involved. But with a little rewriting, they could have easily cut out the stepmom altogether and just mention her and her son by name. They really did not need to be in this movie. Moving on to the last third of the movie, it had some elements that I thought were predictable, but then something would catch me off guard. When it kept doing that, I did like the movie a little more and more, because at one point it did seem very by the numbers. And I wasn't bored exactly, but I wasn't too impressed either, because it didn't seem very fresh. It seemed like a very typical step-by-step revenge movie. But like I said before, it managed to add new things that caught me off guard. But in conclusion, I thought it was an okay movie. It kind of met my expectations based off the trailer. and that's why I had no interest in watching it. It was an okay movie. It wasn't bad, it wasn't amazing, but it was good. And it's a nice movie to pass the time with. I give it a 5 out of 10. Again, I feel like this movie could have been so much better if one, they cast someone else to play the little girl, and also with the stepmom, her part seemed like filler, and she was a very useless character. She didn't aid at all. She didn't help at all. She was completely useless. So yeah, 5 out of 10.